So the result was the great outcomes argument, which is what currently dominates arts advocacy. It sidesteps questions about art's intrinsic values and instead positions art as a means to an end with measurable outcomes. And this is something we really depend on today, but is very, very troublesome. So what are measurable outcomes? Better test scores, economic development for a region, a healing salve on troubled inner city neighborhoods. Every $1 invested in art brings in $2 of revenue or economic benefit. Now, not surprisingly, this rhetoric sits well with mayors, with real estate developers, and has unlocked tremendous resources, especially for capital projects. But the main weakness of this rhetoric is that it detaches arts advocacy from its own subject, moving the discussion away from profound encounters with art, with the real intrinsic value of art, to experiences that lead to more diffuse and less immediate communal benefits. So my first question, and the whole panel is welcome to respond, but I'm going to actually target Margo first, is are we really speaking the right language to today's philanthropists? We are talking to them about helping us preserve a kind of status quo. Please sign the check so we can keep the doors open. But today's wealthy entrepreneurs have made their fortunes on disruptive rather than sustaining technologies. And what we're offering them is not so much an exciting proposition. It's not the language of innovation, iconoclasm that's been part of the world. And certainly when I think to the Guggenheim and how the Guggenheim was founded, it was this German art historian artist who proselytized, who made Solomon Guggenheim believe in her mission fervently to help really change the world, change New York, change everything. So there was a kind of disruptive excitement, a sense of changing the world. And I'm wondering today, what is going to push people's buttons?
Wow. Well, that was a great introduction. You know, I sort of, emotionally, I accept exactly what you've said about that we're detached from what we actually do by trying to have metrics to show the results of arts in America. But I think that realistically, that's what we have to do. I mean, that's what we have found even at the President's Committee, that it's very important that we show results for what we're trying to do. I don't think that's so bad. I think that in a time of crisis, it really is important to have some kind of concrete results. I think people need that. But I do think that the rhetoric, one of the things that you and I talked about, I think the rhetoric does need to change. I mean, and it's sort of completely contrary to what you're saying, but I really would like to actually get rid of the word art, because I think when you're talking about art, everybody's eyes glaze over. Yes, that's fine, that's decoration, that's not even the rosettes on the cake. That's like, you know, the bride and groom at the top or something. And so everything, you know, after you have everything else, then you can have art. So I think I would like to, in fact, we had a meeting together, Damian and I, with Mary Schmidt-Campbell, who is the vice chair of the committee, about how do we change the discussion? You know, how can we reimagine the rhetoric such that it is compelling and persuasive to funders and also to the society? Because I just, you know, I'd like to veer off a little bit here for a moment, that in the last panel, which these panels have been just terrific. I commend this institute. It's really interesting, provocative, and forward-thinking. You know, there was a lot of talk about fear. And I mean, not to make I hope this doesn't seem like a weird jump, but, you know, in Lawrence Wright's book, Looming Towers, on Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden said, you know, we don't have to do much to America, just a little bit, and they'll do the rest to themselves. Now, if we don't have the creative people in this country, and that is not just in people who are practicing arts, it's people who are in science and business, in engineering and all of these areas, you know, if we don't listen to these people, we're going to become paralyzed and we're going to stop thinking. And for a democracy, that seems to me a really, really dangerous issue. So we have to find a language to express what we do that is compelling. And for me, those words are creativity, innovation, helping to prepare the nation's children in schools to think, and Damian will speak, I hope, very eloquently on the work that he's doing with Yo-Yo Ma. I think you're going to speak on that, which is terrific. And we have to prepare them for this new world, and that's an integrated approach. In fact, imagination and creativity has to run across all areas of education. So I would like us to find a new way of speaking about what we do. I mean, America is the great experiment of imagination. That's what it was when it was founded. When the explorers first came here, there was all this, all these pieces written about, was this going to be the new Eden? Was this, all the dreams that the new world represented? Well, we have a chance. This is a turning point. We've all agreed about that. We have a chance to reinvent this country, or to reimagine the country in the image of the 21st century. We had to do it when we were founded. We had to do it in 1860, and we had to do it in the 1930s, and now we have to do it again. And we need the power of creative thinking to make that happen. So my goal is, along with these two incredible guys and the people working in this business, to try and come up with a new way of talking about the importance of the creative imagination to the future of this country. And that, I think, will help us get funding.
I would add to that what you're talking about is not merely, it could be misinterpreted as we're talking about monikers here. Because we're not talking about monikers here, because actually what has to change in the paradigm isn't simply how it's termed, which leads to how it's thought of. It's itself has to change. What is necessary or admirable about the arts, that paradigm has to shift as well, not only for philanthropy, but for all manner of things. One of the things that I've run into working with education is literally selling the arts to the schools. They're under their own pressures. We all know about the pressures from test scores and all of that sort of thing, which leads them to say, perhaps there isn't room for the arts because they're not going to help. You also have to show them that this is worthwhile. And there's been an assumption made on behalf of many in the arts community that, of course, it's worthwhile, because it was thought of as worthwhile. Well, that paradigm has changed to some extent. I was once at a dinner with Jasper Johns, and a young artist said, I wish my art could be more like so-and-so's. Or I think what the artist meant was made people feel. I don't think it was literally, I want it to be that way, but make you feel that way. And Jasper said, well, then make better art. And to me, Twyla just told me, think in columns out at 12th Art Spec there, great choreographer, inspiration for us all. And I wrote on my pad, make better art across the top. And then all the columns came down from that. Make the art better, make what we do in the schools better, and the rest will follow. That's when I started a program with the help of my wife, Heather Watts, who brought it there and said, let's try it. We have to do this, that we must do it. And we did it as like a program in a bag. We bought it. We did a week program and said, let's see how it goes, and maybe people will like it. The teachers came back and said, we said no. But then we saw what it could do, and then we realized how we could use it, and now it's got thousands of kids getting this stuff. But to assume that everybody should buy in, or that paradigm, it's long gone. And that's for productions, that's for education, that's for all of it across the board. And I think it's part of the new accountability of a sort, but it's also, that's progress. There's, supply and demand. And it's about you guys as well, in the sense that if we as artists do our job, you know more, and you make us do better. If you don't know more, where's the pull on us to make that better art? What is going to make that happen? Well, it's shifting the entire thing on its head. So much of my career was spent in a company based on the past. It's all my life. Balanchine said, therefore, we do. Well, Do we? Or are we just, is it a moniker that, yes, to some extent, yes, but thank God for my career, I had Jerry, I had Twyla, I had people who were pushing and pulling in different ways, because the past, living on that past is simply not enough. The principles are right, the principles are strong, the houses are well built, if you will, based on the past. We have to respect them and use them and